Hello everybody and welcome to a tour of Alan Wake on the free camera. Now, as you can see here, we have a standard game of Alan... Yes, thank you. Standard game of Alan Wake running, but we can do this. Nifty, isn't it? This is free camera mode. It was enabled by the developers. It lets you do a free camera. You do need a control pad plugged into your PC in order to do this. Yes, I know it shouldn't technically need it, but you do. And you also need, and you also need to enter in a parameter called freecam. You can look this up. It's pretty straightforward. It might include instructions. But for the record, I'm going to just show you Bright Falls and the world of Alan Wake right now using this mode. So you can see a plain land there. You can see the city of Bright Falls. Let's zoom out and give you a nice panorama. It's very nice. As you know, you go through Bright Falls. There's a church over there that you go through. There's that fire station that you get a helicopter pick up in one of the levels. Over here is the Oh Dear Diner, which seems to have three names: the Oh Dear Diner, the Triple Deer, and the just Bright's Diner. So I don't quite know what they're going for. Right now, the interior hasn't been loaded, so that's empty. Another thing that hasn't been loaded is... Oh, actually there is. Huh. There is actually a shelf loaded into this, and I'm pretty sure you never go into this building. I suppose it's just for the windows. But another interior that's not loaded is Town Hall, which is right over here. Normally you go through it in one of the levels. And there we go. Okay. So the further away I go from Alan Wake, the more it'll freeze up. So let's go to one area that's really far away. That is Mirror Peak. And this is Cauldron Lake. It's not loaded yet. Just wait. Be patient. There we are. Shut up, Barry. There we go. This is Cauldron Lake. And this is the Cauldron Lake, and there's the Claw, Diver's Island with the Claw hut or whatever it's called, and we're actually able to go into it. See, let me just see if I can slow it. Let's see, how do you slow this down again? Yeah, there we are. You can look around. There's the bedroom, the one that your wife beckons you into later on with completely things. There is the desk, which of course becomes a pivotal area later on in the game. And over here is the main living room with some Thomas Zane books, which probably aren't going to be important at all to the plot later on. And here's actually something that you'll only get in free camera mode. You see this door? Well, no, this door. Okay, that doesn't lead to anywhere. Okay. This door never opens. And as you can see, it doesn't lead. This door does never opened in the game too, so you'd expect nothing to be in it. There is something in it. It's the terribly done but still existent stairs to the attic, to the basement, which you also don't see in the game. And if you look down, yeah, see, they even textured the floor. There even seems to be this strange blackboard thing with these writings. I don't quite get what they are. But yeah, this place literally has a basement, even though it's clearly not done. And up here you can even see the stairs leading to the hatch outside. So if you can see that, oh, and of course there's the generator that oh, it doesn't seem to be loaded there. Anyway, so there's the mansion, there's the lake. There's the peak, and of course, if you know the layout as well, if we go across it, here is the building, the psychiatric building, where another set of our adventure episodes take place. And it's just loaded in. So let's take another look. There's the room. I think you go down this corridor. Wait, hang on a second. Yeah, that's Hartman's office. And there's the main lobby sort of area thing over there. And if we go up here, we can see that Wake's room is already waiting for him. Haha. Pretty cool, isn't it? You can go around here. You can see... let's see, I'm going to just lower the sensitivity just a tad. That's where you meet the old gods of Asgard, I believe. That's where you see his creator's dilemma. And all this sort of stuff. And if you go around here, this is where a bull and a chandelier ends up trying to kill you, and you have to jump in there. But then or something, I forget exactly how it goes. Yeah, and then you burst out here. And we all remember the hedge maze. Yep. It's actually a fairly simple maze. But, there you go. So you might be wondering a bit about this is how come I'm able to access all the levels? All I did was load up the very first level of the game and suddenly I'm flying around to all these locations. Well, Alan Wake was originally designed as an open world game. Every single location you visit in the game is actually present on the map. You literally can access nearly every location on it. Now, not all of them immediately load up. For instance, oh wait, there's Bright Falls again from a bit of a distance. But for instance here, now this hasn't loaded up. Some of them aren't loading up, but this one is essentially that caravan park. You know, where you meet a woman who's clearly hypnotized and end up falling blindly into her plan. And if we look over here, you know, you start up this great track, this thing going across the mountains, and then you see in the distance a radio station, and you go through here and get to a radio station, which kind of is there but isn't. You can see where it was. And then that doesn't quite work out since an FBI agent shoots you, so you make a drastic ditch and manage to get here to the to this railway station. Now, if you notice right at this moment, the dot that shows where we are on the map, it's over water, but I'll get to that later. So this is all pretty. So, like I said, the entire map, all of it, is basically loaded in. Now, when you load an individual level, there's a few more details, but this map contains every location in the game already. Let's take a look at, yes, this is that national park. As you can see here, it's notable for being the first level in the game where you finally get to drive a car. Yeah, you start the level at the top of a little thing here. Yeah, your hut's there, and you walk down here, and you go down and you check out some of the huts, and then there's a pretty, I think, sad scene here where a park ranger things don't go well for him. And then you've got to meet a blackmailer by going across all these little things and jumping across the rivers and stuff. You basically have to make it down the river to a peak that's around about here. And when you do, you end up having to go over to the other side of the river and then cross and do all this sort of. I'll be honest, this section is a bit complex. When I was actually playing it using the map, I realized that for part of the level, you're actually going in the exact opposite direction you're trying to get to. But finally, you manage to get to here, which is where a bunch of small buildings are, and you finally get into your car and you drive this road all the way down, and then across it and dealing with the taken, and finally you get up and you drive and you finally get back to the visitor center, and then there's a blockage on the road and you get back to where Barry is and manage to save him from a bunch of birds. Yes, he was being. This is your best friends. You have to save them from birds. Not exactly, cornerstone of quite a few relationships, but, exactly why in this case, I'm not so sure. So this game was originally open world. It contained a vast, vast landscape. And if you notice this, and along with it, along with it, you can even find locations that aren't actually even meant to be in. There's also something else I've got to show you over here. Somewhere around here. Ooh, I think I went to the wrong location. Yes. As you can see, if you look at my thing, this is the bottom left of the map. This is where your Manhattan scenes take place. As you can see, not everything is totally loaded up right now, and there are still some weird stuff. Also, I think things change. Not everything gets loaded immediately. Depending on which level you've loaded, or episode, I think different content gets loaded, but this content, for instance, is loaded when you load the first chapter, but even so, this is where the Manhattan scenes take place. So it's all part of the same map. It might be customized going from level to level, but it's all there. And over here is an extra little bit. Now, technically speaking, I don't know whether this is meant to be part of the land or not, but this essentially is the very, very opening scene. It's basically a dream sequence. So, as you can see, let's see if I can. I think I just went by it there. Yes. It is a dream sequence. So technically I'm not even sure if this is actually meant to be part of the Bright Falls area. But as you can see, that's the tunnel your car drives out of. You hit the hitchhiker who disappears around about here. You can see the lighthouse, which hasn't loaded up over there. And you start this gigantic trek across all this land, across all this bridges and stuff that hasn't loaded yet, before you finally make it onto the road, and then you get chased by a dark thing and have to basically run across the bridge over there into the thing, and that's where you wake up. And after that is you end up on the raft going into Bright Falls, like I already said. There's more stuff. Going up here, you finally get to... Yep, this is the farm. And by the way, if you're paying attention to the top left of the screen, there's the red dot showing us where we are in the map. The map is a combination of two maps. One of them is an in-game texture showing the map of the entire area, of area of Bright Falls. And the other is actually a paper map. It's scanned in. I found it on the Alan Wake wiki. But essentially, it's a paper map showing the Bright Falls area. It covers slightly less area than the in-game texture, but in more detail, so I overload it. For simplicity, I'm just going to expand it for a second. So as you can see, there's the Elderwood National Park, which we were at. And there was Cauldron's Lake, where our thing was. As you can see, there's no island in it, which is kind of meant to be portentous. In fact, you can see a version of this map on the ferry that goes in. So if you're hyper attentive to these sorts of things, you'll notice this mysterious mystery with the island being there when it shouldn't be when you first get to it. There's Mirror Peak. It's a fantastic landmark. If this had been an open world game, that would have been a fantastic landmark. That's where we are right now. This is the farm where you try to listen to an album by the old guards, last guards and such. There's a few other locations we haven't visited yet, but we can get around to that. But one interesting thing about this is I've calculated there's 4 different ways you can get to Cauldron Lake. One of them is the car drive, which you assume the characters use in the first place. You don't use that. Actually, I think it's... The other is, of course, the way up to the through that no, not Insane Asylum, that rest place for creatively stifled people. There's that route. The other way is when going up from the Bright Falls Coal Museum. You do that in one of the levels. You basically meet the blackmailer there, and he says, no, we're going over to the lake, and you go there, and when you get to the lake, you fall into the lake. Another thing there. And finally, there's another route through Mirror Peak, which is through the ghost town. You basically... This is pretty much the last big sequence of the game, and it's really, really big. You basically... The previous level takes place at the dam up here, and then you're like driving all the way down this road, all the way to the ghost town, and then you have to make a nice little trek all the way through this canyon to make it to Cauldron Lake to finally end the confrontation. So yeah, 4 different ways of entering this map. Kind of funny. In fact, when you come up this route, you can even see the road you drove in. But yes, back to the game. I'll just shrink this down slightly. The app... the program I downloaded, it's called the Wake Mapper. I coded it myself, and it is available on... It's open source, available on Bitbucket, I believe. I shouldn't be including the link. So, this is once again... yeah, you're driving along and you crash the car, I think. I'm pretty sure that's so. Some mysterious stuff happens and you're stuck. You're on a higher level, Barry, your friend, is on a lower level, and you try to make it to the farm. Then you get here and somehow Barry has made it all the way over to that little black square in the thing, and which is basically the house you meant to get to. Now, of course, in real life you try to go directly to it, but this is a video game, so you have to go around here, across here. There's some more around here. You get involved in a couple, all the way up here, I guess. Oof. Let's just, there we are. Around here, I think around right here, you can get a car and drive in, and then you can even visit a location over here that you don't need to get to, but I think there's some bonuses. Finally, you enter the farm proper. You drive in, then you get stuck because there's some barricades and you can't take the car further. You go through more, you go through fields, you go through a barn, you go through this thing here. I think you have a fight with a combine harvester, and finally make it to the house. And there you decide that is the best time to get drunk, and that's utterly hilarious, because, who in the world does that? I'm going to quickly go and visit Stucky's garage. I think that's important, because that's the first map in the game that things start to go to heck. And I believe it is over here. Yeah, there's Stucky's garage. In the opening, the moment where the game really gets going, you find yourself driving, you crash, your car lands around here, and you have to make your way to Stucky's garage, which is right across there, but instead you obviously have to go on a huge, long trek all across this land, all over here, whole thing. You end up having to go, there's a whole logging cabin thing over there, and you almost get pushed off a cliff, I believe. And finally, you cross the river at these strange things, at these islands over here, which are all close together. You get to the other side of the river, and you make your way back up. Finally getting to Stucky's garage and things, then you end up having an encounter with Stucky that goes less than well. I think I've covered most of the major locations. In terms, oh yeah, there's Bright Falls. Basically, the scene that we were in with Bright Falls is paused, so I'm not going to go closer because it might re-trigger it and cause more confusion. But oh, there's actually another. Oh yeah, there's the farm. Before I go on to the next section, there should be something interesting here. You see this area? There's nothing here. I've double checked. There is no point in the game where you visit this area. Like I said, this was originally a large open world, so they actually designed all this stuff. But in terms of it, I think it's an important location. One reason is because this railway line. This is the same railway line that's more or less connected to the bridge that you cross under at this, well, at the start of the game that I just showed you a second ago, the one that crosses the river. The railway line ends here, which implies it's important. Also, it's paved over with concrete, which also implies it had a purpose. And just something about the whole layout, it's like it's been smoothed, opened up, an arena in which they're ready to place some stuff here. As for what they intended to put here, I think I know what. I think it was a sawmill. I say this for two reasons. One is that this was a Twin Peaks inspired game slightly, and of course anything inspired by Twin Peaks has a sawmill in it. Of course, Deadly Premonition, of course, took notes. But also because I believe in one of the DLCs, The Signal, I believe, you do end up in a sawmill of some description. And the reason that's important is because The Signal had very little, and the later one, The Signal and the following one, The Writer, I think, those two DLC episodes had very little original content. A lot of it was remixed content from the game. So it makes sense that they would use cut content, i.e. that they planned to have that sawmill there, they had a lot of the content there, cut it out of the game, and then they realized, oh wait a sec, we can use this for the DLC. That way we won't have to create stuff, but we're still kind of giving the player something new. Despite the reuse of assets, I think it's a decent DLC. I think it tells its own nice story, even though it's not doesn't really continue the story. But it seems to come free with most downloads. It seems to come free with the Steam version of this game anyway, so there's that. Okay, so this is where you're finally trying to find the Lady of the Light. You end up falling off a helicopter here, much in the tradition of Frank West. Fight your way through a warehouse here while the Poets of the Full war song sounds, which is kind of awesome. And then make your way to a constantly spinning bridge here, which under the light of a which is pretty cool, and then under the light of a helicopter. You make your way. Oh, there's also a nice episode that plays there, which is, one of those Night Springs episodes on the TVs. It's kind of hilarious because it's basically the writer admitting that he's got a chronic case of writer's block. You go up here. Yes, I think this is the factory. This is the real. Yeah, this is what you were trying to get to. You saw it. The great big bright factory that with all its lights and all its power generation and stuff. And basically, you need to get. Yeah, the electric, sorry, not a factory, sorry, an electric company, a power generator. And then you have to get from there to the dam over there, and one way is by pipes, which your friends take you to, and you just take it the hard way, of course. And there's the dam itself. Gosh, damn. I've grown accustomed to this game. Alright, as you can see, the dam is completely lighted in. Now, let's see if we can actually, it does it. Now, at some point, there's we managed to get into a lift and it takes us down to an area. Let's see if that lift is still there. No, it's not there. I'm pretty sure it's here. I think we go down. And okay. Actually, I'm not sure where it is. Okay, so there's a shaft here, but I can't see the rest of the room being laid. Okay. After this, so after this, you get into your car, and then you say, you've managed to find the clicker, which I always thought was a little forced, but that's the way the game goes. And you're driving off. Here's a nice bridge. I don't think you really see this bridge much in the game. A quick word, this game map has obviously a lot of content and a lot of areas that you don't see in the game itself. My theory is that, it's not a theory. they basically said they were developing an open world game, and when they made it episodic, obviously they left it out. The maps that I've said that they've provided actually often sync up with the terrain. You can often find roads that are even not meant to be there. But enough about that. I think what I want to do is find you the roads that leads to the last section of the game. Ah yes. A lot of the times the maps sync up with the game. This is one area though where it doesn't quite, but it doesn't really matter that much. So at the end of the last, like I said, the last epic level, which I kind of already described for you. Yeah, it takes place here. The last major episode of the game starts here. There's a picnic area, you look around, take in some product placement. Say you've got to get to Mirror's Cauldron Lake, which as you can see is right there, is defined by Mirror's Peak. This is one of the reasons it's kind of a really kind of epic one, because it's you travel the largest distance in this level than any of the other levels. It's a real big one, and you have to get into the car, and it starts in daylight, but it gets dark soon, possibly due to mysterious influences. Down the road, across the thing, across the bridge, you might get some extra stuff. You go into the tunnel, and for some reason, when you come out the other side, it's nighttime, and then it begins. You continue on, you see the rivers. This game drives you around the bend, or at least your car does. This is the motel. Nice little detail. The FBI agent who's hunting you down stayed in this motel, which you can't see because it's not loaded in. So you can actually, go into his room and see the FBI jacket and stuff, and invade his privacy and stuff like that. Across the bridges, across more bridges. See, yeah, I'm pretty sure you go through here. Yeah, across more bridges, and then through a scrapyard. See, Mirror's Peak is still there. You go through the area, you fight all this heavy machinery, you make your way through it, and I believe around here is the ghost town, which I pointed out to earlier. And I said here's the fourth way. You finally go in, go on a minecart ride, go through all this nice little valley here, and finally go through this crack that's here. Wait, I think I took a wrong turning. Yes, you go through this crack that's here, yeah. Climbing up, getting higher and higher, getting attacked by airborne boats, which sounds very weird. And might get through the crack, and then this is where your final confrontation, where you fight the lake itself, or at least the dark presence in the lake. And there you can see over there the lodge for the writers, which you get interned in. And there's the Claw Island. Yeah, there we are. That's why it's called Bird Claw Island. It's like a bird claw. Okay, so that's pretty awesome. That's all the levels that are actually in the game itself. As you can see, most of them aren't loaded up immediately. I think I might as well quickly just show you some of the stuff that isn't in the game, or isn't clearly visible. As you can see, there's just all this mountainous ranges. It's all being coded in. It's all pretty much used. A lot of the time, like I said, I think this is a good example. This road, if you look at the map very closely, you can see that this road is on the map. But there's no real reason for it to be on the map because you don't encounter it in the actual game. This game is full of little details like that because, like I said, they seem to have developed a map, and while some areas were done up really well, others weren't. You never see this road go through here. You never go through this tunnel. I'm pretty sure this area is kind of pretty much invisible. Oh, and yeah, even this intersection which we visited earlier. Now finally this road goes up. This road you can only see by using the free camera mode. I think it's to see all this terrain is one of the reasons that the developers agreed to implement this, because then we'd actually be able to see a lot of the work they did. Some of this stuff I believe will be is sort of visible if you're straining your eyes. Oh yeah, and there's Stucky's station. Some of this stuff is visible, I think, on episode 2, cause when you're climbing around here, and you might be able to see it vaguely in the distance. Speaking of which, yes, during the second episode where you're making your way towards the radio station, you can vaguely see Stucky's gas station, which is one of the nice details. It is actually a whole world. It's not just a bunch of stuff put together. Another thing that you might be interested in is over here. This is watery. You may be familiar with Watery. If you follow the game's lore, it pops up a bit, and on the map, as you can see, once again, there is a city here. You can see this on the map, but you never got to really see it in the game proper. By using FreeCam, you can see the game, and you see that there's a reason it's not in the game proper. There's not that much there. It's like, yeah. The actual pattern does actually... It is actually a grid, you know, the grid street pattern does match the map, so they actually did do a fair bit of work on this. But as you can see, we see stuff like this, which is not done very well. When I was calibrating this game, you know, trying to get it so that the red dot would appear where it meant to on the map, I often used this specific junction. It's just amazing because it matches up perfectly with the map. So I was able to use it. Now, I talk about the level of detail, about how this matches up perfectly with the map, and it is awesome, but there are one or two areas where it doesn't quite. And I think that's interesting because it tells a bit about the game. First up, I'm going to risk restarting the cutscene, but this bridge, right? If I go to the very thing of this bridge, right, and then I pause it, and then I expand my map so you can see it, you can see that it doesn't quite match up. It seems to be on the north side of the bridge rather than just below the bridge, or rather than just on the bridge. Now you might think to myself, oh, you need to fix your mapping program and get it so that it appears on the correct side of the bridge. And I agreed with you. Then I drove my nuts trying to calibrate it until I realized that no, the map is actually wrong. But it's interesting why it was wrong, because it's not wrong because the guys at Remedy weren't clear with attention to detail, because a lot of the map is very detailed. Like I said, there was that junction near Watery, which is perfect. It's wrong because they moved the freaking bridge. Previously, right now, it comes across here, but originally it didn't. Originally, it came across this way. And do you see this little nook in the rock here? Originally, the train and bridge tracks went through here, and you can see it on the map. Now it matches up just about right. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting how they changed that. But it gets kind of a bit more interesting. Long story short, they've changed this area over here a bit, and it's different from the map. Key thing is this depot station is in the middle of water. Another thing is that according to the... is what happens to the railway thing. Basically, you'd expect that railway track. Now, if you follow it the other direction, it's fine. It goes around here, all the way up, all the way to that area that I showed you before, that, you know, where I thought was a sawmill, but isn't now. But if we follow it in the other direction, it kind of it seems to start by taking a turn in here, and then it doesn't seem to go anywhere, and it doesn't seem to hook up with the railway depot station over here. And the reason I say this is because I think that that dash from the radio station to the railway depot station was a late addition. And as you can see, part of the reason is that, you know, on the map, this area doesn't exist, it's just water. But also, I managed to figure out, if you follow the railway, you can follow the route that the railway thing actually takes. And it doesn't go down by the depot station. Instead, it goes around about, let's see if I can get it completely right here. Yeah, so it goes here, it goes around here, and it comes out here. Now, this is a road, it's not a railway thing, but it originally was the railway track. By the way, if you recognize this section, Alan Wake kind of runs across there, runs across the road, and then climbs up there. I think there's like a cop car or something that's crashed, and you can hear its radio telling about how all the police are trying to hunt from you. But this was originally meant to be a railway track. It was originally meant to go down here. If you follow the map, you can follow it taking this route. It goes across here, around here. And look, presto changeo, it switches back to a railway track again. As you can see it on the map. As you can see, that was the route we took. It turned around here. Around here was where Alan Wake runs across the railway track, although it's a road at that stage. And then we go across here, and it changes back into a railway track, which we follow onward. So, I think that's kind of about it. I'm not sure there's anything else I can show. I think I've shown you most of it. Everything from the dam, the farm, Bright Falls, Watery. Oh, I think I kind of showed you Lover's Peak, the gas station, and all the ways you can get to Cauldron Lake. Oh yes, I didn't show you the coal mine. Okay, sheesh. I'm making this sound like. So let's quickly just show you the fourth way to get to Cauldron Lake. Yeah, this is the last one. This is where the blackmailer phones you, tells you to meet you at the coal mine, says, oh, wait a sec, I want to meet at the peak instead, and you have to make this whole trip over here, all the way up. Oh, yeah, first of all, you have to go through this whole coal museum, because, you know, video games never let you just go around a building. You always have to go right through it and pick it up in glorious detail. And you have to do all this rock climbing, and then there's a little mine in here. Hope you don't mind it. And, come out the other side, do this carrier thing that takes you across. Go across this bridge. Oh, the bridge is still here. Oh, it's even swaying in the breeze. That's pretty neat. And all the way over here, check out the ruins of an old house that still has graffiti in it. Let's see if it's still... yeah, there's the basement thing. Oh yeah, of course you can't see the graffiti unless you've got the magic torch and have been touched by the darkness and stuff. Basically, the lamp lady, I believe that was her ancestral home or something like to that effect, which is why there's a lot of writing there. Make your way all the way down to this platform here, and then finally down here. Ironically, by this stage, you're literally on the roads that you drove down to get to Cauldron Lake in the first place. And then you stand on this peak and go wee, splash. Okay, I think that's about it. This has been my little tour of Alan Wake and using the free camera mode, which I want to hugely thank the developers for putting in. It's been fascinating looking at your work and all the little things about game development that I gleaned as I looked around it, and it's impressive to see all the work that you don't actually get to see when you play the game as a result. Overall, Alan Wake has been a great, big, atmospheric game, and I totally recommend it. You know, it's fun. Okay, thank you for watching.